Good evening, friends. You should really try to catch all our terrifying tales, and tonight's tale is called Death of a Pokémon Scalper.
Colby Groves made a living off cardboard and lies. He wasn't ashamed of it. In fact, he'd tell you it was the hustle. Flip culture. Capitalism in motion. He called himself a collector online at Rare Catches 89 across TikTok, eBay, Whatnot, and Instagram. But he hadn't kept a single item in 5 years unless it shot up on TCG Player. He was a parasite in a Pikachu hoodie. A grown man with a fake squeaky voice for live streams and a wall of empty Elite Trainer boxes arranged like trophies behind him. His condo was packed with unopened product. Cases of sealed scarlet and violet tins leaning against his kitchen counter. A mound of Funko Pops where a couch used to be. He slept on a mattress in the corner of the living room so he could monitor auctions while pissing in a half-full G Fuel bottle without getting up. Somewhere beneath it all, his cat hadn't been seen in a week. He called in sick to a job he'd quit 3 years ago just so he could go stand in line at Target every Thursday morning, elbowing kids out of the way for the 9 a.m. drop. He even ran a side scam where he'd reseal booster packs with heat glue and post them as lightly tampered mystery pools. When people complained, he blamed USPS. So yeah, Colby was a scalper, but he was good at it. One Saturday morning, while yard selling, Colby found something that would change him forever. He'd nearly skipped the yard sale entirely. It had that retired teacher look. Ceramic angels, boxes of VHS tapes, a sagging poster board sign written in pink marker. But a color, something bright, something plush, grabbed his attention. He parked crooked along the curb and hustled up the driveway, already peeling off his sunglasses to get a better look. The sun was hot, and his shirt clung with that kind of Georgia sweat that makes your armpits feel sticky by breakfast. Still, he moved fast, instinct guiding him like a bloodhound on a scent. The Gengar plush sat slouched on a lawn chair beneath a faded beach umbrella. It was massive, life-sized, maybe bigger, at least 3 feet tall, with that trademark grin stretching ear to ear. Its body was soft-looking, and a faint shimmer ran through the fabric, almost like wet latex. It was almost translucent. Its tongue hung out and lolled over its lap, heavy and rubbery and pink as raw meat. The eyes were the best part, not embroidered or printed, but made of hard plastic, glossy and realistic. They didn't look cartoony at all. They looked like taxidermy. He loved it immediately. It had to be a handmade Pokémon build. Maybe from Etsy, he thought. "Hey," he said, glancing toward the old woman in the folding chair behind the table. "How much for the Gengar?" The woman didn't look up from her book. $10. He almost laughed. 10? You sure? I'm sure, she hummed. Colby crouched down in front of the plush, gave it a gentle poke. It didn't feel cheap. Didn't feel like anything he'd ever seen before. Not a Build-A-Bear, not Nika, not even one of those weird old Banpresto exclusives. It felt custom. Probably worth a few hundred to the right collector. He turned it slightly and checked the tag. No brand. Just a scrap of fabric stitched under the arm with a tiny red Pokeball symbol. He stood up. "You know what this is?" The woman looked at him now. Her eyes were pale and glassy behind cheap sunglasses, face dotted with sunspots. Her smile was paper thin. "It's yours now," she said. He blinked. "Right, cool." Colby reached into his wallet and pulled out a crumpled 10, handed it over, and grabbed the plush by its stubby arm. It was surprisingly heavy and warm from the sun. He slung it under one arm and started toward the car. That night, Colby was doing what he did best, lying to strangers on the internet for profit. His little ring light made his forehead glisten as he sat cross-legged on the floor, back against a stack of ETBs. The whatnot chat scrolled in chaotic bursts. He held up a handful of garbage pulls, bulk-tier nonsense from 2 years ago. A few hollow rares, some reverses, a Clefairy V that had a crease through the top. He waved them like treasure. "This next one's insane," he said, forcing a grin. "Minty, real sleeper card. Market undervalues this hard. You're not going to want to miss Colby." He froze. It was faint, barely audible, like someone whispering from inside a closet. He blinked, forced a laugh. "Must be losing it, boys," he muttered. "Anyway, next lot." The laugh was breathy, wet, almost playful. Colby's eyes flicked to the corner of the room. To the Gengar. It sat on top of an old shipping box near his closet, slouched forward slightly, its massive tongue drooping across its lap. The ring light cast long shadows across its 2 real eyes. They caught the light like glass. There was no movement, no change. He felt a shiver crawl down his spine. "All right, we're going to call it early tonight, guys. Shipping delays, whatever," he muttered, ending the stream without saying goodbye. The chat blinked out. Silence fell over the condo like a wet sheet. Colby sat still. Then, "Colby." He spun around, wild-eyed now, scanning the room. Nothing. Card boxes, empty packs, Funko stacks leaning like dying towers. The same mess as always. His eyes landed on the Gengar again. He stood slowly, cautiously, like approaching a sleeping dog. "Okay, you creepy little bastard." He crouched down beside it and began inspecting, fingers feeling under the arms and the back. He searched for a speaker, a battery pack, something. Anything to explain the voice. Nothing. Just thin plush skin and rubber tongue. He leaned closer. Their faces were inches apart now. Its hard plastic eyes caught his own reflection. He stared at it, and it stared back. And then, the plush jerked. It twitched like a spasm. Head snapping forward, rubber tongue flopping, arms shooting wide like someone waking from a nightmare. Colby screamed like a child and fell backward, crashing into a stack of booster boxes, knocking over a lamp. His elbow slammed into the edge of a tin, and he bit his tongue on the way down. The Gengar didn't move again, but it laughed, not mechanically, not a toy's recording. It laughed like it meant it, high-pitched, rasping, gut-bubbling, like it had waited years for that exact moment. Colby crawled backwards on all fours, gasping, eyes wide and throat raw. And still, the Gengar sat, slouched, grinning, watching. Colby scrambled backward, heartbeat pounding like a snare drum in his skull. He lurched to his feet and made for the door, but froze mid-step. The Gengar wasn't on the box anymore. It was in his fridge. The little bastard was inside his refrigerator, shoving containers aside. It tossed a week-old takeout carton over its shoulder, flung a jar of pickles onto the floor without looking, and chucked a half-empty bottle of ranch so hard it ricocheted into the wall. "What the?" Colby's voice cracked. "What do you want?" The Gengar turned slowly, eyes glinting under the harsh fridge light. It slammed the door shut with one stubby arm. In the other, it now held the most ridiculous sandwich Colby had ever seen. A tower of bread, cheese, ham, pickles, cereal, cold pizza slices, and something that looked like cat food. It swayed dangerously under its own weight.
Colby, you're a crook. Kinda like Team Rocket.
Colby swallowed hard, still backing away.
I like it. You've got potential.
It tilted its head back and devoured the entire sandwich in one bite, jaw unhinging cartoonishly before snapping shut. Colby blinked hard, rubbed his eyes. The Gengar was gone. He turned slowly, trying to convince himself he'd imagined it.
But you could be better, Colby.
The voice was right behind him now. Colby spun around. The Gengar was floating a foot off the floor as it inspected a leaning tower of Funko Pops.
You do better, scams. More scalping. More money. You need to evolve, Colby. Become the very best.
And then it threw back its head and roared with laughter. Not the cartoon giggle from the games, but a jagged human laugh. Too loud for the size of its body. Evolve, Colby stammered, and get more money.
Yes, Colby. Don't you want to be the best? A master. Rip off as many people as possible.
Colby's throat tightened, but before he could answer, the Gengar sank straight into the floor. One moment, it was floating in front of him. The next, its body rippled like smoke and slipped down into the carpet, leaving no mark at all. Colby stood frozen, heart pounding. Then, the Gengar emerged from the ceiling, upside down, stubby feet planted flat against the plaster like it was solid ground. It dangled there, hanging over him like some hellish bat, its tongue swinging like a pendulum. Yeah, Colby managed, voice cracking. I want to, evolve. What do I need to do to, be the best? The Gengar's eyes narrowed to delighted slits. It dropped back to the floor with a bounce, its grin never fading.
Well, Colby, one way would be to train yourself. Hundreds of hours of research, months of hunting down merch, sleepless nights of streaming, maybe even get a bank loan and open a store. Very hard work, Colby.
The air between them went still. Then the grin broke into jagged hilarity. The Gengar threw its head back and howled with maniacal laughter, the sound bouncing off the walls in a way that made Colby's teeth hurt. Something fell from nowhere. A plastic Pikachu trick-or-treat bucket hit the carpet with a hollow clunk. Inside, it was stuffed with dozens of simple blue pearl-wrapped candies.
Or eat these rare candies, Colby. Eat them and evolve into your final form.
Colby looked from the bucket to the grinning ghost and back again. His stomach churned. The Gengar's laughter rose again, crazed and gleeful, filling the room until it felt like the sound was coming from inside Colby's skull. Colby stared at the bucket like it was a jackpot in a slot machine. More money, more scalping, and he would evolve into a final form. He pictured bigger muscles, thicker hair, endurance for endless streams, a storefront with neon and cases full of slabs. More money. He dropped to his knees and tore into the bucket. The blue candies were smooth and cool in his sweaty fingers, their wrappers whispering as he twisted them open with frantic, greedy precision. He swallowed 1, 2, 5, 10. Sugar slicked his tongue and stung the raw spot he'd bitten earlier. By the 12th, his stomach turned to hot mud. He froze, swaying. A prickle started deep in his spine, like a fuse catching. Colby's gut clenched so hard he gagged. The condo tilted. He tried to breathe. Couldn't. A bolt of pain shot through his ribs and stayed there, vibrating like a tuning fork. He folded over, forehead to the carpet. His hands clawed in the carpet. The first convulsion jerked him sideways. The second rolled him onto his back. His vision snowstormed. Something in his chest popped. His eyes flooded with heat, then widened. Wider. The room warped through a fishbowl lens as his pupils swelled, the whites shrinking to thin moons. He clawed at his own face. His nails tore skin. No, not nails. Claws. A knife pain bloomed under each shoulder. Flesh wriggled there, multiplying. He felt new tendons threading themselves into him like piano wire. With a wet, obscene unfurl, a smaller pair of arms budded beneath his human ones. Little hands flexing with infant curiosity, then curling. He tried to scream, and only choked on his tongue. Heavy, swelling, and slick. His back arched hard enough to lift him off the floor. Vertebrae shifted with a gravelly crackle. A lump rose between his shoulders, skin stretching until it glistened. Colour bled through him next. His forearms flushed a sick bruise purple, then went blue, mottling with ugly green spots that spread like mould in rainwater. He curled, uncurled, rolled, convulsed, knocking over a tower of Funko Pops that avalanched around him in hollow plastic clatter. A graded slab skittered across the carpet and cracked against the wall. The ring light hummed cheerfully while he wrung himself on the floor like a towel. Gengar's laughter curdled the air, high and jagged, too delighted. It echoed from places that weren't corners. Colby's legs spasmed. His teeth tingled, then edged themselves sharper along the edges, each bite closing with a new, unnatural precision. He tried to pull in a breath and felt the shape of his chest remap, ribs lifting, then settling into a cage made for a different animal. He reached the wall and pushed up with a shudder. The room bobbed. His reflection in the dark TV was a smear of blue, purple, and two big eyes. Colby's new lower hands trembled, then steadied. He stared at them, at the spots, at the faint, ugly shimmer under his skin that moved when he breathed. He screamed, ragged, wet, not quite human. And Gengar laughed like the punchline had finally landed.
You did it, Colby. You've evolved the perfect Pokémon human hybrid. Don't look so sad, Colby. You're better than you were before. No, not really. You see, Colby, I lied. You are scum, Colby, and I love playing tricks on humans like you. It's in my nature, Colby. Now it's time for me to go. People to scare. Poké Centers to haunt. Farewell.
Gengar's laughter peeled away into smoke. It didn't walk out. It didn't fade. It came apart, a purple cloud blooming from its grin like ink in water, swelling until the room tasted like plastic and sugar and something rotten. In the heart of the fog, two red eyes hung like coals, laughing without sound, then blinked out as if pinched between fingers. Silence swallowed the condo. The ring light hummed. Colby stood in it, shaking, blue stains on his skin like bad memories. He looked down at himself, at the mottled arms, the crawl of green specks, the extra hands flexing on their own. His breath hitched. He slapped both sets of palms over his face and keened, a long, low animal noise that made the window vibrate. He peeled his fingers away. The mess of his life stared back. Booster boxes leaning like tombstones. Funko towers slouched. slabs reflecting his two big eyes. Candy wrappers winked in the carpet like scales. He turned slowly toward the black rectangle of the window. The choice presented itself like a door in a dungeon. He ran. The first step was a lurch. The second hit clean. By the third, he was sprinting. He hit the blinds with his shoulder, felt the rod snap, and burst through glass like a trick he'd practiced. Shards rang across his skin. For an instant, there was cool night and the taste of metal, the ring light circle shrinking behind him like a closing eye. Then 4 floors of air. The wind came up fast and hard and final. The impact folded him into a horrible shape and left him there. The first to reach him was a kid in flip-flops, mouth slack. Then a woman in a robe, the security guard from the lobby, a half-dozen neighbors unspooling from doorways and cars, orbiting around the body like shocked planets. Somebody said, "Oh my God." Somebody said, "Call 911." Somebody gagged. He looked normal. Just a 30-something man, pale and ruined, glass in his hair, blood pooling dark under his cheek. No blue, no spots, no extra hands. His mouth hung open around regular human teeth. His eyes were the proper size. If there was a monster, it had gone with the smoke. Above, the window gaped like a missing tooth. From the jagged frame, Pokémon cards began to drift, one, then another. Loose rectangles wheeling in the heat-rippled air. They turned lazily, catching the light in quick, cheap flashes, and came to rest across the wreckage of Colby Groves. The crowd stared up, then down, then up again. Somewhere in the purple dark of the empty room, laughter echoed.
The veil draws shut once more, and our guest from beyond fades into the hush of candlelight. You've done well to linger this long, friend. Not everyone has the stomach for such company. But should you ever feel that cold breath on your neck, or hear a whisper that don't belong to the living, just return here to the Seance Society, where the dead speak and the living listen. Like and subscribe to our channel for more ghastly tales. Oh, and don't forget your creepy cocktail recipe. It's buried down in the description.